Hi, how are you doing? Welcome. My name is Gerardo Parra. I'm with the NHPO Leadership Institute, Class 3, Group 6. Today I have the pleasure of introducing to you Johnathan Gutierez, also known as Baby J. He's a hip-hop artist here in Houston, Texas, and for such a young age, he's seen as a leader through today's youth, being an artist, also having several accolades reached by the age of 16, 17, and 18. By that time has accumulated 3 proclamations,
yes, sir.
1 key to the city of Houston. The proclamations include Harris County, Galena Park, and the city of Houston.
Yep.
Thank you for coming, Baby Jay.
Thank you for having me here today.
Do you mind if I call you Johnathan or just Jay?
You call me Jay.
All right, Jay. Well, this brings me to my first question as I introduced you here. You're seen as a mentor and as a leader to the eyes of many young people here in Houston.
Yes, sir.
So when it came time for you to choose your career, who was your first mentor?
Who I could say was my first mentor would be my manager, because you know, being that he took me in his arms, you know, to sign me to his entertainment company, which was Roland Entertainment. You know, it was like he was trying to guide me towards even being more successful, you know, because I was already rapping and dancing, and it's like he wanted to take me to the next level, you know, to progress more, which I was willing to do it because, you know, I really love this, and he was telling me, you know, we could do this. You have the passion for it. I have the thoughts for everything, you know. Like he knew what he wanted to do, and he was such a good person. He's my cousin also, so I already knew him. But I knew that he wanted to make me a better person, and I mean, he's taught me so much from day one to now, and it's like I looked up to him ever since that day he took me into his company. But
so, what kind of qualities as a mentor does Rolando have that you saw?
The qualities that I seen is like leadership. I seen leadership in him. I seen the passion that he has, you know, just like the passion that I have for music, the passion that he has for a manager. You know, he don't sit there and sit frustrated. You know, he loves his job, and just like I love my job, he loves his. And also, you know, he takes a lot of risk. You know, he's like, man, I don't know if we should do this, but we are or we're not, you know. And I mean, that's what a good mentor is, and I really respect that from him.
Okay. So you started your career at age 14, was it?
13.
13.
Yeah, around 13. Yeah, I was 13.
Around 13. When did you start thinking you could do this?
At the age of 6, I thought I was already writing my own music down, so you know, I was already telling myself, man, like I'm good at it. But yeah.
Well, that leads me to the question about school. You know, finding a balance is hard for adults to do. And you know, you're a young adult, but before you turn into a young adult, you know, you were in high school.
Yeah.
You know, you're a young man running into a lot of everyday problems. Yeah. You know, through school. How did you find the balance to deal with your career that you chose? Yeah. And school, which is high school at that time.
Well, like the way it was, I had a lot of shows, you know, throughout high school. So whether it was in New York or in Houston, they'll let me take either the day off or the period off, you know, and then I go back to school. But the thing is, I had to always take care of my schoolwork first. That's what my manager always told me also, you know, education comes first and then your music. So I'll do my work, and then I'll do my show. And if I was out of town, I had a lot of work. So, you know, after I done my shows, after a long day, I go to wherever we're staying at, do my work, and then it'll be, you know, walking around New York if that's where I was at, or, you know, California. And, you know, but basically is my work first, which is school. I always gonna be school first and then my music. And, you know, that's how it always been. And that's how it still is since I'm still in college also. But
well, it seems like the main theme for your music has been progression, and it has been education.
Yes, sir.
In that manner. Has the message changed a bit now that you're out of high school and now into college?
Well, the message has not changed much, as I can say, because my message is still the same when I travel to schools or, you know, to have a show at a park or anywhere where I go, would be, you know, to keep a positive mind state, to say no to drugs, to accomplish your goals, to not bully one another. But there is one thing that I could say I did add on there, which would be to further education, you know, because being that I'm a performer, I could just be a performer, as I would like to say, you know, just be doing my music thing and, you know, that's it. But I want to further my education and show to our young youth, the next generation, that, you know, there's never too much out there that you can learn. You know, once you get out of high school, it's your choice to say, I want to further my education. And before I got out of high school, I told myself I want to further my education, you know. So I want to show them that no matter what you're doing, you know, you could always go to college because you're always going to learn more, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, it's the best choice you can make, as I would like to say, because you're only going to learn more, which is going to be helpful to you in the future. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that I could say I have added to the stuff that I tell our youth, but that's really about it.
Yeah. Now, the education part, and now you're in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it hard to influence the people around you, or do you keep yourself surrounded in a different type of environment?
Well, I would like to say that I keep myself around positive people, but also, like you said, like my message, like do I say it to the youth only or to others? Well, yes. I say my music is not only for the youth. You know, my music has touched plenty of people that I've never thought it would touch. You know, like my music is positive. My music is not the kind of music you'd be like, well, what kind of music is that? You know, just because it's positive, you know, but my music has that edgy sound to it, you know, it's smooth, you know, it's nothing but happiness when you hear it. There ain't nothing angry about it or nothing like that, but I can say that sometimes I do have rough crowds, you know, the older the crowd is, the harder it might be. Yeah. And depending where I'm at, you know, like sometimes I go to school and it's like, man, who's this kid? You know, he's our age, what is he doing here? And it's like, I don't want them to be like, you know, thinking negative. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, I'm Baby Jay. This is what I do. And all of a sudden they change their ways, you know, because I think they're thinking to themselves, like, what is he gonna do? You know, is he gonna talk to us? And then I do what I do, which is, you know, performing and stuff. And they're like, wow, you know. And sometimes it's like they change their way of thinking about me. But to the people like me, it's like, it makes an influence on them too, because people tell me, you know, young, older, or elder, they tell me, man, your music has touched me in many ways, you know, and that's what I really love to hear, because that shows that I'm making a difference with my music and what I want to be, because this is what I want to be, changing people's lives, our youth, and that's how I want to picture this, you know, just changing lives. So. Changing
lives slowly. And yeah. You said it seems like you find a common denominator within people, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes,
okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, I did a little bit of research, and it says here that at the age of 17, you had 3 proclamations.
Yeah.
Stating Baby J Day.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
What's a proclamation?
A proclamation is an acknowledgement from the political side, I say, for all the positive things that I've done for the community, which is like, I do a lot of shows. I've done plenty of free shows for like churches and at the park, at bazaars, and at just schools, you know, not even charging, you know, and it's like, that's the positive things that I've done that they really appreciate for me, because, you know, the next generation that's coming up needs to know how they could live their life, you know what I'm saying? There's nobody out there who, well, I'm not going to say there is nobody out there, but when I was coming up, there was nothing in school that told me to further my education once I get out, to reach my goals. You know, there was always people, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, but intentionally, like, kids change their minds. You know, when I was younger, I wanted to be a firefighter, but am I a firefighter now? No. And do I want to be one? No. But much respect to firefighters, I love them. But, you know, it's like they change their mind, and that's what my music is, to always, you know, accomplish your goals. There's not many people out there who's going to tell you there's plenty of obstacles, but never give up. You know, that's what some of my music has to do with life. My music is about life, this beautiful life that we live in, and hope. Also hope, because there is hope out there, and I want to prove that there is hope. There is hope for change. There is hope for just having a better life in general. But
that's interesting. Now, tell me about the proclamations. What was going on through your mind when you got the key to the city of Houston? Was that hopeful?
It was hopeful. At first, I was like, man, what's the key to the city of Houston? You know, I was just like, oh, cool, I'm getting the key to the city of Houston. I thought it was going to be a little key, you know, but it was big, you know, and I was like, wow. But whenever I found out, you know, what it was, my manager told me before I received it, I was like, oh, I'm getting the key to the city, cool, you know, and he told me, do you not know what the key to the city is? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, Beyonce got the first key to the city, from what I know. And I was like, oh, she did, for real? You know, and it's like, wow. And I'm getting the second one? He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, right there, it hit me. I was like, this is in the
music industry, right?
This is in the music industry, yeah, from Texas.
Okay.
And I was from Houston, I could say. But I was like, wow, you know, I'm getting the key to the city of Houston. That's big. So from there, I was like, man, I'm happy, you know, excited. And then they come in on stage and they read the proclamation and they got the key to the city of Houston, and I was like, wow. And when I received it, you know, the crowd was going crazy. I had a show that day, and I was like, man, this is awesome, you know. And from that day on, I just hold that key and I'm like, yeah. Kind of like.
What's the reaction that you get from your fans knowing that you have such a good award, I guess you can say, a statement of acknowledgement from the city that you reside in? How do your fans take that in?
My fans take that very, I could say, very positive, very good, because I mean they show a lot of love. Whenever I received it, I got so many messages to say congratulations, you know, I hope you keep succeeding, doing well, you know, keep receiving more keys to the city, and you know, I hope I do receive more keys to more cities that I do go to or visit, you know, because I'm gonna keep doing nothing but good things for the future.
Yeah, it seems like you're on the right path. This is why, you know, I wanted to interview you. You have such a positive impact to the youth, you know. Thanks. And as we get older, we want to do that as adults. But I see that you're reaching those goals, you know, and being a young adult at that, you know, and being in the music industry that already carries a certain type of persona behind it, that it's rough and that it's rugged because you come from a rough and rugged environment. You come out of a rough and rugged environment, but you seem to be like this rose coming out of a concrete, you know, for the lack of words. And you know, how is it that came about, that inspiration inside of you, you know, during the time that you needed it the most? You know? Yeah,
I mean, like you said, a rough and rugged neighborhood is right, and the way I seen it, you know, being that the rough and rugged neighborhood I was in was really bad, you know, from seeing a lot of gang violence and, you know, just a lot of bad things. I told myself I don't want to deal with none of that. I want to get out of that and help spread the word to kids that they don't need to be like that, or, you know, be surrounded by that bad stuff, you know. That's why I rap about what I do, saying no to drugs. And it's like I was visualizing it too, like seeing it, because of, you know, my brothers. I have two older brothers that decided to be in that rough environment, and both of them ended up facing incarceration, boot camp, juvenile centers, prison. And it's like I told myself I want to be the right person in this situation, make my family proud, and try to be a better person. And now they talk to me and they say, you know, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great thing. And they look up to me now. And I'm their younger brother, which when I was younger, I looked up to them and told myself, hey, I want to be like them. But changed my mind because I knew there was hope for me to go towards the right path.
So you changed the roles.
Changed the roles, changed the road. I went the other direction.
Yeah, it seems like you do a lot of changing roles for everybody, you know, with your music and even just pursuing school. I believe you were telling me that you're the first one in your family to graduate high school.
Yes, sir. First one in the family.
And now you're the first one in college.
Yeah, first one in college too.
So tell me how college life is. How do you see it?
It's not easy. I mean, it's upon yourself to study, to stay on top of your work, to turn it in. They're not gonna baby you like in high school. Hey, you have homework today? I want to turn it next time. No, it's up to you to look at the syllabus and say, oh man, I got this work I got to do, you know, or get on the computer and get on the internet and do your work. And I mean, it's not easy. You got to study, you got to read a lot, and that's why when I go to schools, I tell kids, you know, read a lot of books, you know, because you're either going to learn, you're always going to learn new words. You're always going to, I mean, the more you read, the more you learn, basically. And I'm reading a lot more in college, so I could say I am learning a lot more. And
it's going to be a progressive manner for you.
Progressive manner, yeah, definitely.
You know, that being said, how hard is it? I don't want to say how hard it is, because I'm sure everything seems hard from the outside looking in.
Yeah,
you make it look so easy. You know, you really do. Yeah. I wish I had, you know, had that type of stronger ambition that you have now at a younger age. Now I'm doing it. Nonetheless, we're here together learning about each other.
Yeah, from each other.
You know, that being said, there's several different definitions of a leader.
Yeah.
You know, you have leaders that have chosen an educational route, more traditional.
Yeah.
Then you have leaders that may have not been as fortunate enough to follow that route, but nonetheless educate themselves and do learn from life lessons.
Yeah.
That being said, what is your definition of a leader?
My definition of a leader would be a person who just has a positive mind state that tells herself, you know, I want to succeed. I want to excel in everything I do. A leader would take a risk. A leader would inspire somebody. And a leader will also help their team out, you know, because a leader will always have someone behind them, because a leader is going to be followed by somebody always. And as I was told, you know, be a leader, not a follower. And that's why I want to be a leader and be followed by young people who are not even young people, just people in general, to be like, you know, positive, you know, and that's the leadership that I want to show, and that's the leader to me, you know.
Well, you definitely are a leader. I see you as a leader. I see you grow, you know, since the age of 17.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, you surprise me every year. You know, there's something always different about you that you show, not only to me, and it inspires me, you know, to head in that route, to be more positive, to be more progressive, to listen more even at that, you know.
Yeah.
But I have appreciated the time that you gave me today.
Oh man, it's been a blessing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Had a good time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Once again, this is Johnathan Gutierez, also known as Baby J.
Yeah.